welcome to Shoogly Shed Motors. I am not in the shed today. I am actually visiting a very, very talented upholsterer by the name of Tom Hurley. Many people will know Tom and know his work, and it seemed fitting that I came here to check out his workshop and discuss a seat for the XJR1300. Right, so Tom has been very, very kind about my seat pan. See, the thing is, right, with seat pans, I always have that in the back of my head. It's going to get covered up with upholstery. But then the one person who does get to see your sins is the upholsterer, which is always a little bit...
It's pretty good though.
It's alright.
It's good.
Once it's powder coated...
Seen a lot worse.
Yeah, exactly. So obviously it's XJR1300. I basically want this seat to be top quality like the rest of the bike, so I've come to Mr. Tom Hurley here, who of course is the man to go for top quality in motorbike seats. We've had a little bit of a chat already about some of the different materials that we can go for. Obviously seats, you're going to start off with a foam layer.
Yeah.
So what kind of foam?
So this is what comes in when you buy your helmets.
You buy your helmets?
Well, like when you get a helmet in a box. I basically just keep these because they help me prop up seats when I take pictures. But it's very similar, so it's like a closed cell foam, and especially because of this guy here, we're going to need this. This is a lot harder.
We call this the penetrator. I did to mention this when I made the seat pan, was that is very suboptimal.
Could have been, if it was here, it would be a lot worse.
It would have been worse, yeah. There, at least you've got a chance of escaping at your feet.
Oh yeah. It's a lot softer than this. This is like really hard grade. That be like sitting on a brick, but it's essentially similar to this.
Cool.
That'll form the base layer.
Yeah.
And then for the next layers, we'll get a softer foam bit.
So this is the medical gel.
Yes. Yeah.
So medical gel. Why is it called medical gel?
So this is made by a medical company,
right,
for hospitals, wheelchairs.
I mean, so if you've never felt this stuff before, it's literally like jelly that doesn't squish, if that makes sense. Like,
yeah, so
you can't just mush it in your hands.
The beauty of it is like when you push it like this, it's really kind of firm and supportive. You can't compress it like a piece of soft foam. You just feel the wood there. But then on your pressure points, it's super supportive, and it's thick enough that when your pressure points sit in, you're not bottoming out when you hit bumps and tapping the the harder surface underneath.
So this seems to be like the go-to thing for a lot of like upgrades for seats.
Yeah, so I do a lot of this for newer bikes. Somebody has a bike on PCP or other finance or something. Take the cover off, insert this. It gets like a couple of layers of soft memory foam. It's not this, but it's similar. On top of that for insulation and a bit of like plushness.
Yeah.
But then this is what does the work.
Cool.
And then if they trade the bike in, you can't visually see it. They might trade their bike in for another stock one and find that the seat is actually like there's usually a little giveaway underneath.
Right, okay. A little
yeah. So it looks identical. It doesn't make a big puffy seat or anything, but then it's like
it's squishy.
Yeah, super squishy, but you're still riding the same bike. You're not like sitting on a bike and going, wow, that's like...
It's just about comfort, really. It's just about like and longevity as well if you're riding on a bike for a long period of time. Okay, cool. We've got foam, medical gel, and then is there another layer that goes on top of the medical gel, or is that...
So yeah, I mean, with you having like a quilted design on top, with some stitching and stuff, you would get something to kind of keep it in, and that would be memory foam because it's so soft it doesn't detract from this. Yeah. But the more you put on top of this, the less that can work.
The less benefit you get.
But if you're sitting directly on this, if it's cold in the morning, you feel it like if that seat there was just vinyl on top of this. Yeah. Get on in the morning. If it's been in Scotland, it's always cold.
You can have a cold butt.
Yeah. Or if you park in the sun, it's going to absorb the heat. Right, so for yours it would have a thin layer just to smooth out any sort of minor imperfections in the hand sculpted foam.
Yeah.
Then you get waterproof membrane, which wraps all the way around the seat, which is essentially like, it's like a really thick cling film, so it stretches and doesn't. This one, so the whole seat before the cover's gone on has been wrapped the same way.
Right. Okay.
99.9 seats get that.
Right.
Very rare occasions if I do a really small cafe seat and it's purely made of that.
Yeah.
That won't take in any water, so and if it's really crisp and tiny, I can glue the cover to that.
Right. Okay.
This one, so that's got waterproof membrane. This, with this sandwich, is that at the bottom.
Yeah.
A very thin, soft layer of that on top.
Right.
This is backed with a waterproof membrane as well.
Yeah.
The surface will always get wet, but it won't
absorb it like a
But this isn't a commuter bike.
Well, that's a
yeah. This, like, a lot of the stuff I do is for people that they really like their bike, and they'll get caught in the rain.
Right.
But they won't ride to work necessarily.
Yeah. Yeah.
Like with things like this, other things I can obviously do practical stuff, but there is a discussion with the customer about what.
It's that constant. Everything in any kind of creativity is balancing function and form.
Yeah.
You know, I think I've mentioned it in an episode previously. It's like form is very easy to get sidetracked with, but then forgetting about the function can make whatever lovely thing you've made completely useless. It looks nice.
Yeah.
But it's completely useless.
So this is like a Chesterfield style leather where it all starts off dark, and I buff it away by hand.
Right, so you're just sort of distressing it a little bit.
So this is like a more cost effective and practical version of the airbrushing, because the airbrushing is nice, but this is all airbrushed. Wow. This was like a furniture leather, and it's all been airbrushed and then sealed.
Yeah.
But it's harder to.
You must stand back and look at that and go, that is a piece of art, man.
I stand back and I usually see all the little flaws. I'm like,
I said this earlier. It's the curse of the perfectionist. Is you can't look at the nice bits. You can only look at the bits you know are.
I mean, it's pretty cool because I've never seen that. You know, the metal pan trimmed before.
That is unique. Like it just looks like you can't do better than that. You know, I don't. I'm not an upholsterer, but I can't see anything wrong with that, dude. So we've got a base down. We're gonna go for an Alcantara kind of top section with a cushion.
Yeah. Like a ribbed.
Ribbed feels wrong, but
people call it tuck and roll, but tuck and roll is actually tucked and rolled, so you don't.
Figures.
Yeah, you don't see the stitching.
Right. Okay.
Whereas, like, I call it ribbed stitching because it's ribs of stitching.
Yeah. Like, yeah. That's kind of idea. I love the double stitch as well. It just accentuates.
Yeah. So if they were all like this, that would be tuck and roll. So you effectively have lots of little joins.
Right.
Which is nice as well. But if you want to get the stitching in, like you can kind of see there, it's like two different things. Very similar.
Similar effect,
sometimes that's the way to go. If it's more of a traditional look, like.
Yeah, side panels are going to be made out of a smoother leather.
I think, so this natural one here, I think we.
Yeah, I love the swatches.
Yeah. My logo shape.
I could sit and touch them all day.
So this one's really like nice and waxy. It feels like a good jacket leather, and it's got a lot of. They call this a drummed leather, so it's effectively like. Right. When in the tanning process, it's like rolled around in drums. Yeah, whereas a corrected grain would be.
Yeah. More
like that, like pressed in. This is natural. And it's kind of halfway between smooth.
Yeah. So to me that looks like a really top quality leather as opposed to one that's trying to be too perfect.
Yeah, some of the smoother ones as well are. This is me showing people how they're nice, but for the sidewalls you need something more durable because it's the bit where there's a rolled edge.
Right.
And that's like the highest wear point.
Right. Yeah.
So this is a good. Again, it's like the shoes. It's like everything. Nothing lasts forever, and it depends. Some people have got like sandpaper pants, and they're like.
Cool. All right. I think I am going to entrust this to you because at the end of the day, I don't think you can do a bad product.
Hopefully not. Yeah.
Honestly,
everybody has bad days.
Everything in here in Tom's showroom, genuinely is mind-blowingly beautiful. You do a cracking job. And like we were saying a minute ago, you're always going to see the bad points, but from someone like myself who makes custom bikes, these would go on any custom bike in the world, and it really would be an eye-catching,
Yeah,
feature.
I mean that's touching on that. That's one of the things. Is like sometimes you want the seat to be the feature, and sometimes about sort of toning people's ideas down. Like you seem to have quite a well-rounded idea of what you want, and I don't see anything that needs to be changed with that. But some people they feel like when they're doing it, they want to put this and put that and put a logo on the side and a logo on this, and like actually when we talk here and we look through it, they often like actually that sounds much better. It's like much more subtle, and like they come and they want like yellow stitching or green stitching, and then I'll be like, well, how about like charcoal with like a lighter grey, and they're like, oh, that sounds boring, but actually it looks like really nice, and it's not as in your face.
It's almost like you know what you're talking about. I know. Well, just talking about logos, I was also going to get Tom to very subtly put a wee Shoogly in the back of the seat. You were talking about laser engraving.
Yes, yeah. So I think that would probably, depending on the size here, and it can often just look a little bit crisper.
Yeah.
So this is all laser etched.
Yeah.
So like the shiny part is the normal surface of the leather, and then that's all been laser etched.
Yeah.
And then sealed with like a cross-linked polyurethane top coat. So that's all, like often you see laser etching on leather, if you Google it, and it's kind of like brown and dusty, and it's like they've just etched it and not really done anything to it.
Right, okay.
And it's,
makes a big difference.
Yeah, I mean it would just, this will be a lot more waterproof now because it's coated.
Yeah.
Whereas before you're sort of exposing the core of the leather.
Yeah.
And it can just soak it up.
Brilliant.
And then that kind of gives you a bit more of an idea of like...
it is super subtle, but it's there, rather than just...
That's what we want, right? I think for this, it will catch the light, and it'll be a texture difference, like the different satins and gloss blacks on the bike, and...
Yeah, that's a huge element of this bike, is just this kind of subtlety. I like clean, subtle bikes, and that's kind of what I've been trying to go for with this bike, is just make it super, super clean. It's obviously a big muscle bike, and a lot of the muscle bikes you'll see in custom shows have been, everything thrown at them.
Yeah,
big
the
loud
got
paint
piping
jobs.
And huge lettering.
Yeah, big loud paint jobs. One of the things when I bought my XJR was that it had Yamaha XJR1300 spray painted across the tank. It had XJR1300 engraved swing arm bolt covers. It had XJR1300 torque arm on the brake. It had XJR1300 tops for the brake master cylinders, and it had an XJR1300 fork brace. And it's like
in case you
didn't know, it's an XJR1300, by the way.
It's a bit like the sun strips used to get on cars, right?
Yeah.
So huge lettering, like
exactly.
Corsa.
Exactly. I'd like to just I've pared all that back. I want the bike to be super simple, but just kind of high quality. That's kind of my aim here. We'll see if we achieve it, but that's my aim.
You want bikes that it looks right. You don't want a bike that screams, which that can be right in some instances, but that's my sort of style as well. As you walk up to it and you're like, oh, I didn't see that. Oh, I didn't see that.
Yeah.
Oh wow, look what they've done there. But it all works together.
It's going to be a show bike, but I want this to be my bike at the end as well.
Yeah.
Like, I want to be able to ride it. It needs to perform well, but it also needs to look nice.
You don't want something that people see from the other side of the car park, and that's like.
Yeah.
And then you walk closer and it gets worse.
Yeah. Good from afar, but far from good.
Yeah.
That what you mean. Yeah. Cool. Nice one. All right, sweet. I think we've got a pretty solid plan dialed in, and I can't wait to see the results.
No pressure.
Yeah, it's all on you now, and I get to. This is very, very rare for me. Usually, I'm doing all the work, but I get to hand this over now and walk away and just be like, "Make me a seat, please."
Yeah.
So, here's my seat.
Yes, here's your seat.
That's
Finally,
amazing, man.
not a piece of metal anymore.
Yeah, it's amazing what you can do with a piece of bent metal, powder coated bent metal. It is absolutely immaculate. I mean, it's very hard to show it on camera, to be honest, the detail involved here, but you have absolutely surpassed my expectations, I should say. So was it a tricky seat to make, or was it a...
well, not particularly. Getting the shape right was
Yeah.
a bit of time, but nothing crazy. It's just...
I think that the most difficult thing I can imagine is someone just giving you a blank seat pan and then you having to envisage the finished seat and making that happen.
Yeah, if there's no... Like when people don't know what they want, that's the hardest bit, because there's too many possibilities for me to just go, how about this?
Yeah.
I haven't got like a book of 10 options. It's like, what do you want?
Pick one from the catalogue, yeah.
I think probably the hardest bit was because this is all fitted.
Fitted around the seat.
So getting both sides on
Yeah.
in one go, because it's kind of like one shot at gluing it on. There's
Yeah.
no like, with staples you can kind of staple one, and then actually that needs to be a bit tighter. You can pull a staple out and
Right, okay.
redo it a little
gluing
bit.
it on
But
is a bit more kind of...
and it's so snug and just, you know,
But that's what makes it like
crisp
top quality,
and-
is how crisp and snug it is. There's not a single sag there, you know. There's not a bingo wing to be found.
Bingo.
No, that's awesome, man. Thank you so much. And
pleasure.
I'm going to take this home and put it on my bike, which I am even more excited about.
Looking forward to drinking a beer next to it and
Yeah,
tobacco
bike
dock.
shed. What's it? A week today I'll be heading down, so just in time. Get this fitted up, get the tank back,
Yeah, same for me.
and then we'll be headed down and drinking a beer. I'll see you then.
Yeah, you owe me a beer.
I definitely owe you more than one beer, yeah, for sure. So that's the seat done, back on the bike. Last thing to put on is obviously the tank, but I mean, the seat speaks for itself, it really does. I can't say anything too much about it really. It's a work of art, and Tom's an absolute master of his craft. So thanks again, Tom, for doing that for me. I've always wanted a Tom Hurley seat, and now I've got one. Anyway, as usual, please do give me a like, leave me a comment, and make sure you do subscribe to the Shoogly Shed channel. And I will hopefully see you in the next episode, which hopefully will be getting the bike sorted and ready to go to London, which is a week today. Scary times. Right, take care. Goodbye.
Would look like that. It's like a, oh geez, there's a dead spider in there. That's pretty fresh. That must have been just then.
Poor spider.
To give them a wash. Yeah, whereas a corrected grain would be